Good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, May 23rd, 2023. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden. Of course, you're watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. And of course, we're late because of somebody. Presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe that it's the little things that make a big difference. So give them a call today, 715-520-2271. Actually, he was just here yesterday because apparently they do screens too. So they literally do everything. So he was fixing some of our screens. Fitzy, it is National Drinking with Chickens Day today. Oh. I'm not making that up. It's National Drinking with Chickens Day. So does this mean we can now have a national drinking while watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy show day?
In Wisconsin, we can have a drinking day for anything, I think.
It kind of seems like that at this point.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I think we should be a national holiday.
100%, yeah. And good morning, Sharon. Fitzy, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Pretty well.
Good.
It's nice out. Mosquitoes, what the frick?
Oh, lots of them. I know. It's just
crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of mosquitoes. I don't know why.
Somebody explained it. I think we put something on our post, and somebody explained what it was, and I can't remember what it was. But, yeah, we were doing, like, the lawn, because I do the trimming, and Kent does the push mowing. It's like Saturday night at 6 o'clock, and he started, and I'm in the garage getting the trimmer ready, and all of a sudden, just a swarm. We must have, like, riled them all up. Because then they all came in the garage, and I'm like, well, I'm going inside. Good luck, Kenneth.
Maybe the heat will burn them up this week. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I shall pass on that one. Huh. Yeah, no kidding.
No, that's who we were going to, Dirk. We don't know why. Tell us why there's mosquitoes.
Something about
he did tell us about the wildfires.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah. That was good. So we have there's a few press releases here or articles that I've actually done. One was man enters plea on charge from vehicle versus train crash. Another is an insider article, copper wire theft investigation leads to felony conviction in Barron County. I want to ask you about Click It or Ticket. That campaign started. I want to walk us through, is Barron County part of it? Is this something that's a feel-good thing, or does it actually make a difference? And of course, the district attorney released the findings on the deaths of officers Emily Breidenbach and Hunter Scheel on the circumstances around that. I just kind of want to get your takeaway and some of your feelings on. You're now able to talk about it a little bit more. So we don't necessarily have to get into the actual report or the findings there, but now you can actually talk about it a little bit more. So, of course, we probably want to start with that. After we do our sports questions, as always. So I have. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go?
No, you go, because I had one, but I don't know where I put it, but I'll figure it out.
Okay. All right, so here's my question. So, obviously, Lakers. The Lakers won or lost last night, got swept 4-0. So my question is, did the Lakers overachieve by making it to the Western Conference Finals? Because most people, when the playoffs started, didn't expect them to get this far. Or did they underachieve by not making the NBA Finals?
I think they overachieved. They weren't supposed to go that far. So I don't think it's a big deal that they didn't make it to the NBA Finals. I mean, they got swept. Normally you don't get swept, but I get it, and I don't have a problem. So
you think they overachieved?
I do.
So I think in a funnel, if you just look at the playoffs, I think you could make an argument for overachieving because nobody thought they would get this far in the playoffs. But I think when you look at the totality of the whole year, you have the two of the top 10 best players in all of the NBA. If you look at it that way, they've underachieved. Because the goal has to be getting in the finals. How do you what? You have two of the top 10 best players in the NBA and you don't make it to the finals. The goal is to win a championship. So I think in a funnel they overachieved, but I think in just the totality of the whole year, that has to be they have to have underachieved.
Well, then the Bucks are in the same boat. Boston's going to be in the same boat tonight. I mean, they got way more players to be honest, that are in the, those teams have better players than I think the Lakers, and neither of them even made it this far. So
I know.
Well, yeah. Boston did, and they're going to lose tonight probably 4-0. How about that, Miami Heat?
Is that your question? Since you make up a question.
My question is LeBron's statement is, I got a lot of thinking to do. Does LeBron come back next year or not?
Of course he is. It's all about legacy. But this is one of those downsides, not downsides, but you have to take things into context and understand the situation. They just lost. They just got swept. And now they're immediately afterwards asking them questions. It's really, there's a lot of emotion right there. And I don't know. He's a little bit of a prima donna. So I think he's like an Aaron Rodgers. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Just so everyone can write about them. Come on. So he'll totally be back next year. It's all about legacy for him.
I want to sell some jerseys, so I'm going to, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you think? Do you think he's coming back next year?
Oh, yeah. He comes back as a Laker. The Lakers will look different, I think, but.
They're going to have to.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. And does he want to go through that? I mean, he's been there 20 years. He's got enough money to retire, obviously. He's got enough. Does he come back and want to train a young team or an old team or not? All his other, Carmelo retired yesterday.
I saw that.
I'm just not a Denver fan. I just can't like Denver.
Neither. I can't get behind Denver. I'm totally in for the Miami Heat because obviously, no team has ever come back from 3 games to none. Now, it doesn't mean it can't happen, but Miami Heat will get there. So there's another example. It's just one star in their team, and yet they already beat the Bucks, and they're going to beat the. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know that the Heat was. Although I don't know, I hope they sweep them, but
they're going to win. They have to lose 4 games in a row. Not going to happen.
But how about the Florida Panthers and the Miami Heat? Both are just knocking it out of the park. As
Florida is where it's at, as long as you don't care about politics, because that's a little bit of there's a lot of controversy going on down there.
Well, let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah, let's move on. So we're going to get to the DA releases his findings on the deaths of the officers in Barron County, and now you can kind of walk us through that. But first, we'll be back in 15 seconds after a word from Spooner Health.
In our satisfaction surveys and in conversations with patients, they appreciate the fact that staff got to know them. Staff really took their preferences into account, and they just feel grateful that they are being cared for as a person.
To learn more about our services, visit SpoonerHealth.com.
Hey, speaking of Spooner Health, last night I was in Shell Lake, and I was at my brother's, and I saw Maya, my niece, my brother's oldest daughter, and she said she has applied at Spooner Health, and she already had like an interview, and now she has a second interview. I'm like, what? Like, Fitzy and I have gotten my daughter a job at the Spooner Library, so we'll juice you up. It's no big deal. Now, obviously, we said jokingly, we did not get her an actual job at the Spooner Library. She got herself the job. But I'm like, fine, we'll put some pressure on Mike.
Well, who does second interviews?
I don't know. He's like, it has nothing to do with any of this stuff. He's got like tons of people for it. But I don't know. If she gets the job, then we can say that we got someone else a job. But obviously, that's not really how it works.
She better get the job. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, all right. So just saying. Okay, so we had on Friday at noon, the Barron County District Attorney Brian Wright had released the report and the findings of the circumstances that were surrounding the deaths of the officers Emily Breidenbach and Hunter Scheel, as well as the suspect. I can't remember his name. Who's deceased now? I can't think
Doesn't
of it.
Matter. We don't say it anyway.
Good. It's like Voldemort. We just don't know. Right. I just said it. But now you can actually. We've talked about this in the past a couple of times, and but now that information is out there, this is your hands are off of it. Everything is out there. I don't know if you had a chance to read the report. To be honest, I didn't get a chance to read all of it, so I'm not that familiar with it. I read a skim kind of through a whole bunch. I just haven't gone back and read all of it. But now that it's over with, what do you want to say about that whole circumstance that you can say now that you weren't able to before?
Well, I don't know that there's anything I didn't say that they were heroes. Obviously, Emily and Hunter are heroes. I did, the DOJ at the same time released the video, and that's what I had a problem with. I need to be honest.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see that anywhere.
It's on the
anywhere.
DOJ site.
What do you? I'm sorry to interrupt. What do you feel? I'm sure. What do you think about that? Is that
redacted.
good?
It's heavily redacted, and there's only one video, but there's a video camera from a business that catches the whole thing on video too, and that's redacted too. So it's redacted, and I'm just not crazy about that. I actually didn't know that was happening until 10 a.m. on Friday. That they were releasing the video. I knew the DA report was coming out. I've glanced at the DA's report. I'm set. Brian Wright did an excellent job on the DA's report. It was well written, well done. This guy was bad. these two cops are heroes. They stopped tragedy from happening down the road, and gave the ultimate sacrifice. And, that's where we're at today. They are the heroes. They stopped a bad guy. And, I'm just not crazy that DOJ releases all.
Why? I mean, I hold a cow. That's crazy.
Well,
I didn't even know that. And I'm not saying it's. I get it. Like there's an open records request,
correct.
and there's a lot of rules that go to that. And if they can and whatever and redact, it's fine. And maybe people were requesting if they figured, okay, we're going to. So maybe my issue now, I'm talking kind of out loud about all this and processing it. Maybe the issue isn't that they released it. I'm assuming they had a whole bunch of requests for that. But there's a part of me that just, I don't know. If who needs to see that? And maybe everybody needs to see that. I don't want to watch it. I really don't.
And I didn't either, and we actually told our people not to. But I felt that I should, because I had never seen it before Friday. I had never seen a piece of video. I intentionally didn't do that because I was kind of a media contact and didn't want to talk about it. I couldn't talk about it. So the less I know, I can't even slip up and accidentally say something. So I intentionally didn't do that because that was not my role in this case. This wasn't a Barron County Sheriff's Department case. This was a DCI case. And by the way, DCI is an unbelievable job. Their investigators are top of the line. They're the best. DCI is very helpful. St. Clair County out also. But Hunter and Emily are victims of crimes. They're victims here.
Well, they were murdered. We said that last week on the show. We're just going to call it for what it is. That's exactly what it was. And even though that may not be an official charge, it would be intentional homicide if that person had survived, etc. But whatever, it's murder.
Right, it is. And so I don't. The DOJ puts this on their site, and they do that for all officer involved, and that's this every officer involved thing that DOJ investigates, any use of force, they put on this website. And we're making it too simple. And I do the same thing. I'm guilty of it too. We're trying to be so transparent that sometimes we don't think about all the consequences. And we handled it well here. We did it okay, but I just didn't know I know the family if the family wanted to view it before it got released, I know that they got to watch it. I just didn't know it was getting released at the same time. I didn't prepare my staff for that because my staff were involved in it. Some hadn't seen it. Some didn't. I'm hopefully no one ever watched it, but I wanted to watch it myself so I knew what was on there so that I could. Yeah. And it's heavily redacted. DOJ did as good as they could.
Okay.
But you can see it, hear it.
Are you aware if the family was okay with that?
Well, they don't have an option to not.
Right. But I mean, are they, if it were my family, if it was like my dad, if that happened to him when he was a sheriff, or if it's with you, like my family. So I can't even say you. If it was my family, I don't know. I'd feel a little, I don't know if I'd want that out there.
Yeah. Oh, I don't. And and not all the family watched it. Some family did. I think DA Wright did a very good job with DCI again, meeting with the family, explaining it before it went public. This is what we're releasing. This is what this means. What questions do you have? I mean, I think they did it for the family. I think the DA's report is tremendous. I think it literally says in there, these are the heroes. They've stopped tragedy from happening. That's what we want to do in law enforcement. That's why we do what we do in law enforcement. And, ultimately we don't want this to happen, but that's part of the job. That's when there's a shooting, we run towards the sounds and you get to run away from the sounds. That's how law enforcement works. So I didn't like that part. That's just part of the reality of when we have DCI investigated, they're going to release it. That's their policy. Now it'll be interesting because there's a thing called Marcy's Law out there, which protects victims from being, protects victims' release of information because they're victims. I also think they're victims, and we could have probably used Marcy Law. Again, this wasn't my case, so I wasn't involved in this part. I didn't even know it was going to get released. So the St. Clair County one, it'll be interesting to see if that gets released because I believe that they're going to use Marcy's Law on that. So
would that be like the family that would
I don't
impose
know.
the Marcy? Who does?
Yeah, that's a legal thing that
Okay.
I don't understand Marcy's law completely,
I don't
except
either.
we can't put victims' names and stuff anymore if they're a victim. So even in our car crash, we're very careful when we release names because they can be a victim of it, and it's victims of like very, very serious. You know, I have an expert on Marcy's law here in my office, and I'm not that expert, so I can't comment a lot about it. But it does protect victims' rights, and that's what it was done to. It was made to do through our legislature. So that's a legislative thing that happened.
So it's been what, month and a half ish,
Yep.
5-6 weeks since that tragedy. At what point do you kind of just move on from that? Not move on, but I mean, I'm sure there was mental health options available in terms of the everyone that is involved in the county, even probably your people, right? The county deputies who they know the officers. Then everyone has that option if they want to, and then how does that work? If somebody doesn't go to that, how do you make sure that you take care of the other people that are affected by this stuff, the other officers and the deputies that are affected by this stuff that knew them, or even if they didn't know them personally, it's still, but you're one of our, what? No. How do you kind of know, all right, everybody's good right now? I mean, I don't know how anybody could really be good forever. I mean, this has to impact you, but at what point is it, okay, you need to come back to work now, assuming that they needed some time off, which would be perfectly understandable.
Well, we have peer support, and they keep checking on people. So our peer support team, both outside the department and inside the department, are checking on my team. They're also working on the Cameron and Chetek police departments. They're back to work. Everybody's back to work. Everybody's doing. It's a new normal. But as I said at the law enforcement memorial last Wednesday, this is something as an administrator we have to reassure the public that our jobs have gone unfazed from this, because if there's a shooting that happens today, we got to run towards it. We're not going to run away from it, and that's our job. That's the job here, and that's the tough part about being an administrator is you've got to convince your people that, hey, you still need to run towards the bullets, even though something really, really, really bad happened. You still got to run towards it, and we got to train. We got to make sure, what did we learn from this? I mean, is there something? Now, in Emily and Hunter's case, I don't think so. I don't know. I've looked at it enough to realize I don't think there's, man.
Well, you can always do something a little bit different. Hindsight
sure.
being what it is, of course. But overall, like, they followed the policy, procedures, they were this, they were that. I mean, of course, you could look back at it now and go, well, But overall, that's my gathering, too, from it was that, no, they were doing it almost virtually by the book. And it
two officers and waited. And I mean, so there's tons of stuff that are good, and I look at the St. Clair County, and again, I haven't watched the video. I know a little bit about that one, again, about as much as I knew about here, maybe a little bit less, but do we need to change? Do we need to back each other up faster? Do we need to, when we do field sobriety, make sure there's a second officer on scene, but there's time delays. And so do we need to drive, if you're a cop and you're in Cameron and I'm in Turtle Lake, well, that's 12 miles away. If I drive on Highway 8 at 55 and I get behind somebody, or, should I turn my lights on? I mean, that's something we're talking about right now in our training. Do I need to get to you and back up a little quicker? And that's what we have red lights and a siren for. If we need to get somewhere, and do we need to get there and back up people a little faster? That's something I'm considering. That's something I'm looking at. That's, those are things that we're talking about that we learn from everything we do. Every time we have a SWAT call, we have a debrief. What could we have done better? What do we do different? Could we have come from this side instead of that side? Did we break this window instead of that window? We debrief all of this stuff probably to a fault, but
no, not to a fault. 100% not. We just got finished saying that we looked through and did the officers, did they do, the due diligence? We did this, waited for back. Yeah, you can go back and look and say, well, what we could have done. But that's what you have to do, too, as an administrator, as chiefs in municipalities and as sheriffs. You need to look back and do the same thing. What could we have done differently Not what they could have done differently, but in order to prevent this. And I don't care if you guys have like 50 meetings and, for an hour for the next 2 months for taxpayer dollars. Don't care. If that could help prevent anything like this happening again, it's worth every single penny and time and minute to do that. Just my opinion.
And coming out of that, I just made a request to my law enforcement committee last week to add 2 more people to our night shift. So I'm hoping it passes in June, and in the county board in June, that 2 more deputies get added to the sheriff's department.
We'll put some pressure on them. We'll get it done.
That's right. One of those is safety. I mean, I think ultimately we're, the complexity of the calls, the internet crimes against children, the, municipalities having coverage issues, just to increase the safety. It's just takes a few more cops now to do our job. And, I'm going to pay for that the rest of the year with some money we took out of the jail. I'm hoping it passes. But everything we do costs money. That's the problem with law enforcement, is that there's some guy on my window with a hose. I'm wondering if he's going to wash windows, so I hope he doesn't wash right now.
Maybe we'll see him behind you. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll open the window and be spraying. Maybe you can get one of them chairless, window washers, and he can dress up like a superhero. Anyway, I digress. 50 in numbers. I appreciate it.
When is that? So redo that real quick. You're asking for 2 more deputies at night. So that's not a scheduling thing. I mean, you have somebody that does the schedules. Yeah. You're asking for 2 more deputies and then put them on nights.
Well, there'll be utilities is what they were, but they'll be mostly on nights, so that if we need to fill a day shift, we can.
So you're asking essentially for 2 more deputies.
I'm asking for 2 more deputies, 100%.
And when is that meeting?
The 19th of June. I don't have the June one in front of me.
Okay, 19th of June. And that goes before, is it already gone through law enforcement committee?
Yep, has gone through law enforcement committee, passed 6-0.
Good. Okay, so now it's going to go. And how do you think that is gut feeling? 50-50?
We haven't added since, hang on, I get it right here. We haven't added since 2008. We haven't added a patrolman.
Holy cow.
Now we've added school liaisons, we have added a rec officer, but not to our patrol. Our patrol has been at 4 in the county, and sometimes if one guy takes off, we work with a minimum of 3, and we like it to be, and I actually want 4, but I'm willing to take 2 in 2023 and 2 in 2025, because I understand the politics, I understand the budgets, I understand how the system operates, and I'd love 100 cops. I just know that's not a reality, and I'm trying to make this a reality at the taxpayer's expense. Obviously, every dollar that comes into law enforcement is 100% taxable by, if you look at it, if you look at DHS, you look at highway, well, their budgets are bigger.
Yep.
They have a lot of offsetting money that goes with that. And so the federal government and the state pay the highway to do certain roads, and that gets all refunded. Well, law enforcement and DHS does the same thing. Some programs are funded by the federal government, some are mandated, and the state pays for some of them. So they get a lot of revenue in to offset that. I mean, DHS has often added positions that are 100% funded. Well, I can't do that. There's no grants out there right now. There's no money for law enforcement. So every dollar that I ask for, I understand comes on the back of the taxpayers of Barron County.
Wow. How many? So at any given moment in Barron County, or maybe there's a difference between day and night shift, how many patrol deputies do you have on? 3, 4? Did you say you'd ask for 4? How many do you currently have on? 3 or 4?
There's max is 4. I mean,
that's a pretty big county, and you got to cover a lot of area. I'm just saying.
Right. And that's where night shift, where we probably will put these on nights, and we'll do that, because day shift has school liaison officers. I have a school officer in Cameron and Barron. I have a school officer in the Turtle Lake Prairie Farm. They can always get pulled away to do an emergency.
For example, I mean, you could actually do that at night too for an emergency, but you can sit in the office and something I'm like, hey, I can quick jump. I'm already dressed. I can
right
jump in. Yeah, right. No problem. Right.
Here.
Yeah.
So day shift, there's more than 3 on during the day shift, and that's when more of your traffic is. That's when your influx of people, between 3 and 7 p.m. We have crashes. We have more people because they get home from work and realize someone was in their garage, or they get into a car accident, or there's other things that go on. So our busiest time of day. So
I agree, Jody. Yeah, we don't live in the same world.
And we never used to have that feeling, and now we've had 3 cops shot in Wisconsin, 4 this year. If you count the one in Milwaukee, and it's
that'd be 4 if you count Milwaukee.
It'd be 4 with Milwaukee.
Yeah, but just in our area, that's just it. That's what Jody was talking about. Even in our small communities, I mean, we've discussed that before, where we've had these conversations, but it was always about a Milwaukee. It was always about the Twin Cities or a national thing. Now we're talking about these things in our area.
Correct. And they've all involved guns, and I don't want to get into a gun thing because all of the guns that I'm aware of in these cases are purchased legally. And I know the one in Barron, the bad guy had an AR. I know that's out there, and I don't know if you limited that, if a pistol does the same damage. I don't know the answer to that. But it was a pistol or it was a handgun, I should say, in St. Croix County. I believe it was a handgun in Milwaukee. That's what's trending up in law enforcement deaths across the nation.
It is. I think I had that statistic a few weeks ago about that it was it's almost like a 3-to-1 ratio, or maybe it was like 67%, something like the AR-15 or style. I don't know if that's an actual gun, but the AR style, whatever. I don't know anything about guns. It was actually, in terms of use, like in shootings or mass shootings, it was like I can't remember, like 5% or something. It was a very small amount, but handheld guns, pistols, that was like 60% of all of them. Like, that really blew my mind, because all we hear about is we need to ban this, which I don't care. Do whatever you want. But that was really interesting that it was the handguns seem to be the biggest component.
And you used to see a lot of officers' deaths driving fast to a crash, and we hit a deer and we go off the road, and a lot of law enforcement deaths happen in our vehicles because that's our office. That's what we drive fast, we hit things, people pull out in front of us and not see our red lights and siren, and we swerve off the road. So yeah, and that's a good point, Dirk. And that's, and like I said, I'm not getting into the gun issue.
Right.
I don't mind guns. I don't have guns. I have a gun on my side, and that's the only gun I carry. But guns isn't the issue. People are the issue. We can get into mental health all day long. I think the bad guy in Cameron had some mental health issues. I think we were addressing him as best we could, because he could function. He could function on a daily basis. And you can't just say, because you made a threat, boom, you're committed. Otherwise, everybody would be committed. So there's a lot to walk through with this one.
Yeah. I
don't know that there's a specific reason that somebody missed. I don't think there's a hole in the system here. I don't know as we continue to talk about it, but I don't see any glaring holes to put a bow on this and wrap it up. We'll just keep caring for our friends and our brothers and sisters in Cameron and Chetek and all of our law enforcement. And we can't do it without all of you guys out there. So we really appreciate it. All the support. Man, we got a big treat box from the Barron County Patriots. I mean, they gave us some good Twinkies.
What are Barron County Patriots?
That's just a group that donated.
Oh, is that like you hear about Patriot groups?
Yeah.
Is that what that? I don't know much about them. They're like not really super organized, like local they are, but like can't find like what their agenda is, their platform is. I can't find that anywhere. But anyway, I'm not banging on them. Just I didn't know what you meant about Barron County Patriots.
No, and of course, with Democrats or Republicans,
but it doesn't matter. This is beyond this. Right. No, come on. This is dumb. This is not about party. Come on.
Or what ideas you believe in. I mean, this was just a bunch of people that got some money, raised some money, went and bought us a whole bunch of treats, and it was awesome.
I'll take the money from and stuff, and from churches, as well as like the Northwest Wisconsin Agnostic Association. Don't care. Show your support. This has nothing to do with any of that stuff.
And I think that's what's key about that, and I think that's what, again, some good will come out of this. As I said on Wednesday at the Law Enforcement Memorial, I always look for good to come out of this. It's good will come out of this. We will be stronger for this. I always said these people on the sidelines, the Republicans and Democrats, the Patriots, whoever you are now on the front lines with us. And they're telling you, we're done with this. We're going to keep our cops safe. We're going to make our schools safer. We're going to be a community, and that's what will come out of this. And we will be a stronger community because of this. It's bad that bad things have to happen, but as bad things happen, we always make some changes or get some more support.
Yeah.
And
I know it's probably not a popular thing to say, or maybe it could be misunderstood when we try to find there's some positives that come out of this. Now, we don't want people to die, not just cops, but anyone to die. But when they do, we have to figure out some kind of positive. Here's a good question from Becky. How do State Patrol officers work this area? I think you got a little bit of like the Eau Claire Post and the Spooner Post in Barron, don't you?
Right.
So walk us through that.
We have 8 troopers are assigned to a county. So we have 3 troopers. We're actually supposed to have 5. I've asked for 2 more troopers. There's just not enough troopers to go around. I think Washburn's supposed to have 2 or 3, and I think they have 1. And they handle calls in our county. I mean, a lot of times they just do traffic, but sometimes they go on calls with us. OWIs, they go on domestics with us. They are involved in all our critical incidents. But they're regular cops like us in the county, and that's how it works.
Got it.
They're great. They've been great partners with us from the Kloss case. I mean, they assigned somebody to the whole Kloss case for us. And so that person was here, that trooper was here every day in and day out with us just because they know we needed help. So that's what's special about it.
Yeah,
and they handle a lot of major events. I mean, when it's Rutabaga and it's 4th of July and they're here on patrol, and I think they're doing an aircraft detail this weekend, so don't speed on 53.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not out there. They're telling you, don't speed. We're going to be right in this little area, so don't speed. And they'll still catch 10 people speeding. And I was like, man, we can't tell you enough. We're telling you right where we're at. We're telling you what we're doing. And, don't speed.
So Renee, she had something up here. Just wanted to say it takes, okay, I'll skip those. To walk up on a vehicle when pulled over. I'm assuming she refers to like a law enforcement going up to a vehicle. Yeah. And no, 100% right. That would be, I get emotional easily and I get scared easily, which is why I can't watch even like horror movies or anything. I just get scared so easily. Just the anticipation, man, I'd be so nervous. And I'd be the idiot of I'd just have my gun out and just be shooting everything all the time. Like, I'm just going to blow out your tires so you don't drive away. I'd be like the worst cop ever. But no, that's the thing. And what I think you probably don't want is to be super comfortable doing it. So I think Renee actually kind of hits on that a little bit when, it takes some, to do this. But I think you always have to have that spidey sense. Because if you get comfortable and complacent, I think that's a bad thing.
100%. And I think we've been somewhat complacent because of the times. I mean, because people don't want to get patted down. They don't want to get checked for a gun unless they're being arrested. Well, and people can see some of the ramifications of some of that. Like, we don't want to second guess our work, but we're afraid to be sued or be on the internet or, and so we have to be very careful. And people don't like it when we swear at them, and that sometimes that's to gain control of the situation. But in today's world, we're always being videotaped and we always take every incident and we never get the whole story. That's why I do this show, because even if I love the media, everybody knows I love the media, but this is the only segment where I get to sit and explain as long as I want, whatever the situation is. And I don't get to do that in the newspaper. I don't get to do that on regular TV because they only I may say everything I want to say, but they only cut it down to 2 minutes because every news story only can be 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not their fault, right? Yeah, you're not banging on them at all. It's just that's how it works. They have a TV show and it's only 22 minutes long for the news. Right. We can't have a 22-minute long thing of just Sheriff Fitzgerald. We can only use 2 minutes, so we have to edit this down. It's not their fault. It is what it is. But that's, again, why we like doing the show, so you can talk. Yeah.
That's why when you see these videos, it's not the whole story.
I know.
And we've talked about it before, but that's just I just appreciate all the support. Our sidelines are now our front lines, and we're stronger than ever moving forward. And I'm happy about that.
All right. To put kind of, I guess, a bow on this one is you're potentially going to be looking for, or you've been asking for, or you have asked already for 2 more deputies for the county, patrol deputies. That'll be on the 19th. are you concerned at all if you get that, if that does go through and it passes and they say, yep, no problem, are you going to be able to get people to apply for that job? And after this all has happened, are people even in Barron County, because we see people leaving law enforcement quite a bit, or even some of them currently working there going, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah. No, I'm very satisfied that we'll get good candidates. I may steal from a police department, and I'm trying not to, because that hurts me in the long run too. When I steal from a police department and they can't hire on the bottom end, and then I have to cover a police department.
Right.
So,
take it from another county. Take it from Dave Wilson's. Yeah, just call him.
Trust me, I'm trying. No.
Yeah.
I don't really want to hurt myself, but I also am going to take the best cop, and I don't make these people apply. They apply for jobs here. Sometimes I get frustrated when people leave us to go to a different department. As long as you're going to better yourself, that's all I care about. But it does. Yeah. Do we need better pay? Yeah.
I mean, everybody needs better pay at this point.
Right.
I'm not trying to take that away from law enforcement, but like everybody, except for my daughter, who's 20 years old, works part-time, and she's getting like $18 an hour or 17. Like, what the frick? Yeah. It's just like making food for the elderly. It's crazy. So, and Quick Trip's hiring $18 an hour, and then you look at cops, and then you look at all the professions. So, like, regular jobs don't need more money an hour. They seem to be doing really well. But it's all like the professions, the teachers and law enforcement. Those are the ones that I look at and go, really? That's what you're making? That's weird.
Yeah.
But again, money is a big motivating factor for this.
And weekends and holidays are a bigger factor when it comes to law enforcement. I don't see a lot of people jumping ship for pay. I see a lot of it is like, I don't want to work nights and weekends anymore. And a lot of these are more, we don't have a lot of flexibility. We got to be open 24/7. I just can't say, you know what, DrydenWire, you can close tomorrow if you really want to. It's 99 degrees out. I want to go to the beach. You can close DrydenWire and nothing's going to happen. I mean,
you can't.
You'll be behind in emails. Your sponsorship. You might not get paid for that day, but you can close if you want. I can't close tomorrow because it's 99 degrees out, and so we've got to force people in. That's another reason to hire 2 people. And we've been talking about hiring these people way before this incident. I don't want to say this incident drove it, but this gave us another reason to put on the list, because I got a whole list of why. Sure. We need these 2 positions, and we've been talking about it for a couple months at law enforcement. I just found some money now to be able to pay for it for the end of the year and start it now. And we have some shortages at our police departments. Safety is another issue. So I don't want anybody to think this incident is pushing this and I'm jumping on a bandwagon, because we've been talking about it at law enforcement. And I think that's a fair question. And that's why I wanted to explain myself, because we're not using this as he's just getting on the bandwagon here, and the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl.
Seizing an opportunity.
Right. I'm not seizing the opportunity. It added a reason. There's no question it added a reason. But we've been talking about it for months at law enforcement. I just pulled the trigger. That's maybe a bad pun. But I, did that here.
No, I think it's smart. I really do. By the way, the offer still stands. We've been talking about it for how long? This is like our 139th episode. We've been, you were on like it was our first episode. That was, I don't know, 5 years ago now. And I've been saying then, and I still say it now, if you need someone, you can deputize me, and just got to get an airboat captain. I will drive the airboat and bust all the drunk boaters. Just get me an airboat and then deputize me, and I can do that on like Saturdays. I'm
still working on that. As soon as that airboat comes in, you're hired. I'm working on it. The order's in the mail. The check's in the mail on that one.
All right, I wrote it down.
Okay.
All right. There's a couple other. We're not probably going to get to these. We're already up against our time. I'll quickly just mention them if you have anything you want to say. We put a post up. A man enters plea uncharged from vehicle versus train crash. There was a train crash. He, I believe, was not allegedly, but he was, well, maybe allegedly, but he was charged also with OWI. There was a passenger. Both of them are fine, but there was a crash. Essentially, he just gets some, a fine. Yeah, it's interesting because a fine I feel like that is just 100% directly due to the fact that nobody died. Like, what would the fine have been or the charge have been if the passenger died in that crash? Right. Alcohol-related, train, and a passenger dies in the crash. It would be crazy.
Right. That's not our case. It's a state patrol case.
Yeah.
I don't know why the deal was cut. I don't like that one.
Neither.
Just my opinion on it. I get to have an opinion today, so I don't like it.
Good.
I don't know the whole details behind it, but I think there should have been more.
I kind of feel the same way. The other one, this was an insider article. Copper wire theft investigation leads to felony conviction in Barron County. I don't know if you had a chance to read that yet. I believe that one was also some probation, like 3 years.
It's a felony conviction, though. That's a good thing. That gives us a little bit more room to do some things. I kind of remember that case, but I didn't read it, so I can't comment on it. But I'm
you should go to
happy
DrydenWire.
with the felony conviction.
All right. Well, again, no jail time or anything.
Right.
I think
Well,
he even
but-
dressed up as like a utility person who's going up and cutting wires, steal all the copper, and it gets, here's a fine, get out of here. Last one here was Click It or Ticket. We put that up yesterday. That's actually from the WIS-DOT. Seatbelt safety campaigns begins in Wisconsin. Is Barron County a part of that? And
We used to, because of everything that's gone on, we didn't take part of this quarter. We usually do it in the fall. It's because of Memorial Day weekend. That's why they're doing some speed enforcement on Saturday. We used to take part. We've taken part in it for many years. We're not taking part in it right now. We just didn't have enough people to get it all lined up. You got to fill out a form every shift, and you got to keep track of everything.
I didn't know that.
We're there. We'll do traffic enforcement. We'll be out on the boat. It is Memorial Day weekend. I do have one announcement I would like to talk about.
Go ahead.
It's Mary Dexter's last shift tomorrow. She's been with us 45 years and 9 months, actually. She's been with us, so we want to wish Mary a happy retirement. We had a retirement party for her on Saturday night, a family one and business one, and we're having cake tomorrow. Tomorrow's her last shift with us, so I think it's important to recognize 45 and a half, 9 months at one location is unreal. She was the first female deputy, first female patrol officer, first female detective. Talk about breaking the glass ceiling. Mary Dexter did it. So our hats off to Mary. She'll be missed. And, it's going to be tough to replace, but we have a deputy that's stepping into her role. We'll
45 years in any job is very, it's not common.
Right.
But in law enforcement. And then to throw in the fact, because that I think it can burn people out. I totally understand that. But then also, like you said, she was kind of the pioneer in a lot of this. She reminds me like Tracy Finch. She was the first female deputy in Burnett County, the first female detective, and I'm assuming then, of course, the first female sheriff. So kind of that, the trailblazer, as it were. So I'm sure that must have been, it's a different world now.
Right.
For probably in a lot of ways for the better in terms of women in a workplace environment. And now in something from 40 years ago, which was heavily dominated by men, and a lot more things were kind of okay to say way back then, I'm assuming. To have to, what she had to go through to keep that job and get the respect of everyone and to stay with it, like that's legit.
Yep, it totally is, and that's why I wanted to take 2 minutes and just say that was awesome. Mary's a rock star. Everybody in the world knows Mary. When we put her picture up tomorrow, it'll probably break the internet. But that's awesome.
Good.
That means you made a difference in the world, and Mary can say she made a difference in the world, and that's pretty special to be able to do.
All right, we have a couple of quick announcements before that. Here's Dirk's, our unofficial or actually official DrydenWire. Positive
Well, good. We
Tuesday
need
show
it to be dry.
forecasters. Slight
Graduation this weekend. Jace
chance. We need
graduates.
rain. Slight chance tonight. Oh,
No, we don't need rain.
We
Let's
don't
have
need rain. No,
We don't need rain.
we don't need rain.
You're
I
coming
thought we
down
needed rain, but I
Sunday?
guess we do.
You're coming down Sunday?
Yeah. Yeah, I even had to cancel our Bible study.
Well, that's
Our
good.
Sunday morning Bible study. Just go down to,
Have breakfast.
yeah.
It'll be a good time.
Hey,
We'll
by
have
the
an
way, I
egg.
saw this morning. NFL announced that 2025 draft is going to be in Green Bay.
Yeah.
We totally have to go to that. The draft.
Are we going to do this live from Green Bay?
Oh, that's even better.
Maybe you can get us press passes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, cool. That's what I need to know. And reminder for everybody, this Saturday in Shell Lake, a free will donation. It's a pig roast in Shell Lake to support the fireworks show and street dance. It's going to be at my brother's right in front of his gym and also the Matt's Ice Cream Stand, Shell Lake. I think it's from 11 a.m. to 2 o'clock. Come out for a lunch and then donate whatever you want. There's no charge for it. Just all that money goes to help keep the fireworks show great, the street dance great, and keep it free for everyone. That is on
I don't think
Saturday.
I'm going to make it up there, but I'm going to try. But
You got a board to fix.
we got a board to fix. Yeah, I didn't even have Brian come over. I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. You're bored. I was thinking about that after the show last week. I'm like, just replace the board. I don't think you fix a board. You just replace it.
So we'll.
All right. So that's what you have coming up this week.
Yeah, graduation. Hats off to all of our graduates. Be safe. You've worked too hard to screw it up by doing something dumb. And just congratulations to all our graduates. Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Be safe. Wear your life jackets. Drive safe. Seatbelts. Don't text and drive. All that stuff. A busy weekend, and we want it to be safe. Next Tuesday when we do this show, we want it to be no press releases. So that's my goal for the weekend is no press releases. Get together with family and friends and celebrate all these kids' achievements, and let's do it safe.
Yeah. And I'm going to have to make a special trip up to Hayward, I think, tomorrow morning. I have to leave the house.
Twice in one weekend? What are you going to do?
It's just terrible. It's the worst. I know. Look, Kenneth, my son, he's been in bike club. I don't think they call it bike club, but that's what I call it, bike club. They go around everywhere, mountain biking, all the trails and stuff. And this is coming up in his third year, but he's been using a bike from the school. So I said, if you do it for 2 years, I'll buy you a bike. Well, that was before, first of all, I found out how much these sticking things cost. That's ridiculous. I'm thinking like $200. So we went up and got one at New Moon up in Hayward because he wanted a specialized bike. So we ordered all the certain part. Everything's done. He gets home 5 minutes later. He's out on the trails already, like bent the derailleur. So now I got to drive back up there to drop it off. So that's what I'll be doing, having to leave the house tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to tell you. Here's another. Oh, man. I forgot. I can't believe I didn't tell you this. Like 3 weeks ago. Kenneth also ran the 100-meter. He broke a school record for the fastest 100-meter dash for a 7th grader. Wow. It was like 13 seconds, 13.1, 13.2, I don't know, something like that.
So
I didn't tell him I was proud of him, though.
You didn't?
No, because he didn't like work for it. He's just fast. It's like, wow, good job, Shaq, for being 7'2". He didn't have to work at being tall. I'm just saying. Yeah. All right, man.
Good job.
Good job, Kenneth. I did say good job and awesome, but All right, for Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Give Brian a call today, 715-520-2271. Fitzy and I'll see you right back here next week. By the way, I've been eating these Sawyer Creek. These are freaking phenomenal. They're beef jalapeno and cheese snack sticks. They even sent some of those. I know I love that stuff in my Sawyer Creek. They even sent a hat. It's like, you know me, I'm a total promo whore. Like anything, you send me anything, I'll wear it. Look, I'm wearing Professional Exteriors shirt. I don't buy stuff. Just send it to me, and I'll promote it anywhere they want.
Hey, speaking of that, there's still advertising left for Freedom Fest. I saw the ad yesterday on DrydenWire.
There is.
So be still a sponsor. Help your law enforcement, your firemen out. Freedom Fest in July. They have 1 month away.
Yeah, we should get. We're supposed to be doing some ticket giveaways coming up in June for that as well, if they have any left. So, but they may not.
I got to get my counter out now.
Yeah.
Because those work really well for us when we get stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, I love this show. All right, thanks everyone for watching. Right. Fitzy, have a great week. I'll see you Sunday morning, Fitzy. We'll see everyone else here next Tuesday. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, have a blessed day.